has begun its election list process ahead of next year's elections. ANC Gauteng is drawing up a list of members to represent the party at provincial and national level. Reporter Moloko Moloto joins us from Irene. This is where the party is hosting its Gauteng list conference. Moloko, good evening. Before we get into the details of who they would want to see topping that list, what kind of state does the Gauteng ANC go into this election in?
As the governing party in this province goes into this particular Congress, the list Congress, I must indicate, at a time when it is facing growing opposition. I mean, we have seen in the past weeks the DA, for instance, marching to the office of David Makhura, the Premier, over the big hoja in this province, the e-tolls. And of course, we have also seen some of the senior leaders, particularly the chairperson of the ANC in Johannesburg, Makuba, implicated in a corruption scandal. Apparently, a few years back, he got to do business with a company that benefited from a tender in the city of Johannesburg. So the ANC will go into this particular Congress considering one of those issues, or even some of the issues. But most importantly, we should indicate that this particular meeting or conference, they are not really here to be discussing policy issues in the main. The important thing is that they must begin to compile a list of potential representatives who will represent the ANC after next year's general elections, both in the provincial legislature, but also at Parliament, both at the National Assembly as well as at the National Council of Provinces. And as I said, the list conference, the whole purpose is just to allow the delegates who will be coming from the branches that are in good standing across the province to vote for the people that they believe will be better suited to represent the ANC. But of course, I'm going to, it would be important for our viewers to be aware of the process that the ANC has to undertake as it goes into this list conference. And for more on that, I will bring into this conversation Tasmin Mutara, who is the ANC's provincial spokesperson in Gauteng. Tasmin, thank you so much for creating time. First and foremost, just give us the quick comparison between an elective conference, which we all know, and this list conference. What is the difference?
Well, the list conference is a culmination of a process undertaken by branches in good standing, as you said. Branches in good standing nominate candidates for the province-to-province list and the province-to-national, which is the National Assembly list and the provincial legislature list. So that has happened over a number of weeks. Nominate their preferred candidates. That list, lists of nominations then get consolidated, and we have a threshold of those that will appear on what we call the draft list that is going to be presented today. The threshold was a minimum of 10 branch nominations for you to be able to qualify to appear on the list. What will happen here today is that the chairperson of the province, Comrade David Makhura, will open the session with a political input and guide the process. We'll then get a presentation of credentials, which is the expected branch delegates, as well as delegates from the leagues and the Provincial Executive Committee, which will determine whether the conference itself can take decisions, forms a quorum to be able to take decisions. Once that takes place, the elections agency then takes over. They then present the list of province-to-province nominations, province-to-national nominations of all those who have qualified and accepted nomination and have also submitted their CVs in line with the guidelines. That will be presented to delegates for them to then consider going forward.
You are talking about candidates having to submit CVs. I mean, I am aware that, of course, you did this as well in preparation for the 2014 elections. But we are used to seeing this particular practice, particularly being undertaken by the Democratic Alliance. Are we beginning to see you as the ANC perhaps making a move away from the so-called cadre deployment, perhaps scrutinizing the expertise and the knowledge of the people that you will be sending to become public representatives?
No, it's actually a very different process from the Democratic Alliance. The Democratic Alliance uses the CV as part of application. So our system is a democratic process determined, one, by branch nominations, and two, later on by this conference. And then post the list conference, you have a political process that determines who will then go forward. The CVs are really to determine where best to deploy comrades after elections into portfolio committees, into different portfolios, based on either their expertise, based on their experience, based on where they've served before. So it's just a guidance tool that we use to determine where to best place comrades. But it's in no way a prerequisite, and it's not an application process per se.
Tasneem Motara, she is the spokesperson for the African National Congress in Gauteng. And of course, we are aware that delegates continue to arrive here at the St. George's Hotel in Irene outside Pretoria. Of course, the registration, I was informed that has already begun. The understanding is that the conference is possibly going to just before 7 o'clock. So that means, because the delegates, when they leave here tomorrow, they should have voted for the people that they want to go and represent them at Parliament and also in legislatures. They will have to work overnight to ensure that by the time they leave in the morning, they have all the names ratified by the PEC.
All right, let's leave it there for tonight. Moloko Moloto is going to be watching that particular conference for us.